welcome Peter Weedfald, who is the Senior Vice President of Samsung USA, and has now been promoted to head of all of their marketing. It's a great pleasure to have you on board, Peter. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's interesting in this new technology-laden world, I'm actually standing here holding a microphone, isn't it? Where's the holograms? You know, first of all, we're very, very proud that you've come and honored us by spending some quality time with us today in what we call the passion of Team Samsung, which is this 10,000 square foot unstore emporium where we are working extremely hard to help propagate the value proposition of digital technology and the convergence of the technology without pressuring consumers. And the word consumer is interesting. Doctors, lawyers, children, tall people, short people. This is called the unstore. So you cannot purchase anything here. And each of the wonderful assets that I call human capital, if you will, that are assigned to each of these stations, their job is to be extremely mollifying, to be kind and gentle to the level of technology and expertise consumers have and pedestrians have when they come through here, and help them to better understand the value proposition of digital technology. So I think it's very apropos to have this breakfast in the surroundings of 10,000 square feet of what I would call the most urbane and best-of-breed digital technology products around the mobile home marketplace, around the home consumer, in the living room and bedroom marketplace, and through business technologies. So let us begin. First, forgive my intense sobriety. I usually take it up about 30,000 feet too quickly and I land too hard. So don't mean to do that, but the only way you could understand it is to take a walk in my life. We live in a fast and furious business, and I have to tell you that technology is thundering out of competitors' warehouses so fast that your head would spin to be living in my world. We are in launch mode 360 days a year. I'm in launch mode every second of the day, and I'll sign off this year on about 197 business plans. And the business plans are plans that say we're developing technologies and products in the home, business, and mobile marketplace that's designed to gather the imagination of those people based on the DNA of what they need to get accomplished, either in their home life, business life, or mobile life, around this word called digital convergence. So I'm going to do a fast spin backwards and then a fast spin forward. Yes, I'm older probably than everyone in the room. And the fact of the matter is that in one of the pieces of paper I read about for this morning's session, somebody said in there that, you know, Comdex has usurped CES. Excuse me, reverse. CES has usurped and just taken down Comdex, and that's not true. The fact of the matter is that all of us, and I do it all the time, I send a note to Andrew Grove and Bill Gates, and I thank them for the Wintel architecture. I thank them for being early propagators of the demand for consumers to want to travel at hyper speeds. I thank them for the hyper-changing short product life cycles that I lived through on the IT side for so many years. You remember the XT to the AT to the 386, the 486, 46SX. Remember the 486SX, DX266, then the 586 Pentium class. And suddenly, as the industry was morphing, and we went from the few that could buy for the many. Remember the pocket protectors? You know, we had 80,000 PCs were sold the first year, and it was only 9 people who had the capabilities of making a decision. The power of the mantle of PC Magazine, you remember, and still is, lab-based, unbiased product evaluations so that the core could actually buy for the many. And so, fast forward, the hyper-changing short product life cycles, the niggling, purse-proud, cheese-paring, bag-of-Latel competitive disadvantages of not being able to get the APIs, the average price indexes that you need to be profitable, has changed dramatically and morphed us into this new world. And so, in that world, one more time, I remember somebody saying over and over again, I wish I remember who the originator of this was, don't worry, the killer apps are coming. The killer apps that'll take advantage of the 686 Pentium speed. And it was really sad to watch because the processors got faster and faster and faster, but there was no applications there. And then it happened. Then it came true that the killer app appeared. But what we didn't realize is that the killer app killed all the apps. The internet, which I describe as Darwin on speed, is the fastest unionization of push and pull on the planet. The internet is the fastest unionization of push and pull on the planet. And I bow to the great Michael Dell, and I shall till my grave, because he had it right all the time. That CRM, which we know stands for Customer Relationship Management, for those pocket protectors on the back mainframe still, which really stands for Customers Really Matter, the acronym, was all about understanding that Michael Dell, in 50 turns a year of technology on the IT side, it meant that when the ship hit the US waters, within 5 days, the product was in a home or in a business. It was out of the box. Someone was typing on it. It was already paid for, and he knew where you lived, and knows now, and he knows exactly what your configuration is. Go ahead. You want to start a company and try to compete with that? And then being able to reach out to you in 30 days and say, by the way, we have an application upgrade. How about event-based promulgation? Event-based promulgation, that his printers actually send a signal back to the mothership called Dell and says it's time to send 6 more ribbons. The printer's out of ribbon. So the fact of the matter is that I was saying for 3 or 4 or 5 years with certainty that the cynosure of our new economy was all about something called, and I was proud of it, we're in the new information economy, where information is pervasive and it's ubiquitous. You can get it anywhere because of the power of the internet. And then of course wireless started kicking in, and now it got even scarier because now you didn't have to be at a station, you could be anywhere mobile. And then digital convergence started kicking in. And then I started to realize that, wait a second, we're not in the information economy, we're in the knowledge economy. Because I can gather knowledge at the speed of sound, and I can be as smart as you at any subject. And then, of course, for those of you in the editorial community, I'm still boggled. And I do understand free enterprise and free expression. But I've lived in a world that said that a unique editorial franchise and position of an editorial community is about trust and leadership. And how dare anyone create a boggle? And how sad it is that there are consumers from 1 year old to 50 to 100 years old that now believe that all the information on the internet is perfect. It's sad. So I said we went from the knowledge economy to the information economy to the perfect information economy. Boggle, moggle, toggle, roggle, soggle. And by the way, I refused to recognize the word boggle until it was in the dictionary. And son of a bitch, oh, did I curse in the Samsung experience? Webster announced that they put it in the damn dictionary. But I'm wrong. I'm going to tell you what economy I believe we're in. With all due respect for those who are fallen soldiers due to illness, my belief is we're in the new ADD economy. And I call it the ADD economy because it seems to me that nobody is any more a mile, an inch deep. We're all a mile wide. If we're not on the blackberries, which is kind of funny, they should have been called blueberries, but okay, they have a black one now. If you're not on a BlackBerry, you're on a notebook. If you're not on a notebook, you're on a cell phone. I've got Wi-Fi in my home, and I've now trained my wife to understand that when I sit down and watch the news with her, I'm going to multitask. And by the way, I actually return phone calls while I'm on the internet doing email, watching the news. So the other transition that's taken place with digital technology and the internet and wireless, in our humble opinion, and by the way, it's my job to be a little bit of a harbinger for the company, and it's also our job to say that 5, 6, 7 years ago, as Samsung was building its core infrastructures around manufacturing mobile home and business products, we were trying to look at the vista of the future and where all this was going. So the viewpoint here is that we've moved from a manufacturing-centric, high-technology venture to a completely washed, consumer-centric marketplace. Completely washed. So this expressions of the unwashed don't know how to buy something. All these glowing boxes. And if you want any proof, whether I'm right or incorrect, When is the last time you went to Best Buy, walked into the DVD aisle or the cell phone aisle or even the router aisle and saw any consumer with a pair of screwdrivers and pliers opening up 4 or 5 different brands so they could juxtapose the caption motors inside? They don't. So the world has changed and the consumer now is in charge. And it's kind of funny being orchestrating over sales and marketing because in this change, there is so much tradition that continues. So much tradition that continues. Like in 1960 when my poor dad would sit there and watch Channel 7 for 1,472 hours a night and never get up. And Mom would bring over the hot dogs and hamburgers. And he would watch the TV. And every once in a while I'd hear him get up, his knees would crack, he'd walk over, turn it to Channel 4 and stand there like a doofball. Sorry, Dad. He's upstairs now. And what would he do? He'd watch Channel 4 for a minute, boom, put it back on 7 and sit down again. And I thought, that's interesting. And then when he got his first remote-controlled TV in 1963, something wacky happened. Of course, I was only 2 years old in 63. Every time a commercial came on, he flipped in 1963. 1963. And I didn't know anything about business, and I said, I don't know what's going on, but I think they want my dad to watch the commercials. My dad had power. He was beginning to feel the power of digital convergence and technology. But all the advertising agencies and all the TV shows said, no, Peter, you're wrong. Now we have 225 stations reported by DirecTV, and every one of them carries advertising. And even though there's 110 million households in the US, we're going to tell you this, that on this channel and on this channel and this channel we reach this many million households. If you aggregate the 225 million households, guess what? There is 1,900,000,000 households in the United States of America at 8 o'clock at night on a Tuesday night. Impossible. So what's happened is that consumers are in command. I mean, think of yourself. If you watched TV last night, do you remember an advertisement? If you heard the radio this morning, can you remember what happened? You're in the ADD economy. Everything has changed. Everything has shifted. And by the way, for us as a manufacturer, trying to serve our channel partners and try to serve consumers, we're no longer a time-to-market company. We're a time-to-volume company. The fiduciary responsibilities, the pecuniary opportunities, live in the land of 30 to 45 days on the shelf at the last 3 feet of the sale. No longer 4 to 6 months. Try to live in that world. And by the way, consumers expect everything. If I said to you today, you see this notebook? Hey, it's our new notebook. You know what it does? It will fly in the air and follow me around. The pocket protectors would say you're a moron and you're fired. Consumers would say, hey, that's cool. What else do you have? So the demand on more information looks something like this. From our perspective, and we have to do this because we have to stay focused. Focus, relevancy, pertinence is very, very critically important. And our focus is to understand there's only 3 businesses left from the perspective of us as a manufacturer and the perspective of a consumer. The first is the content business. So I'm officially here to thank Terry Semel at Yahoo. Thank you for spending another $25 million to reset and relock and make the Yahoo opening or the pylon into your wonderful world more beautiful, more pristine, and more exciting. Thank you, millions of websites worldwide. Keep working harder. And thank you, all you television stations. Thank you, movie companies, Hollywood, and the music industry for content. And thank God I get free content. When I sell 28 million boxes this year in North America, I don't have to put content in any box. That's the first business. So we're focused. Second business that I know of is the pipe. ADSL, asynchronous digital satellite links, cable into the home, CDMA on cell phones, 3G. We don't have to build those infrastructures. I am humbly telling you, with great appreciation and humility, thank you, Sprint, thank you, T-Mobile, for the free pipe. Because if we had to put that pipe in the box with our cell phones and other wireless devices, we couldn't have a business. So what business do we believe is what is the real face of the consumer? In a world where the pocket protectors are not the ones to make the decisions anymore, but it's based on emotional capital, it's based on usability, and it's based on the fact that we know that every human has 3 lives, a mobile life, a home life, and a business life. It's the first inch through the glass. Our perspective is Samsung, oh my God, that would have been sacrilege. Samsung wants to own the first inch through the glass. Whether it's a small 3-inch TFT flat panel, whether it's the world's largest plasma TV, which we showed at CES at 101 inches, to have the consumer to go through whatever pipe they want to get to whatever content. That's focus. And that's why you saw us post a $57 billion revenue at the end of 2004. That's why at the end of 2003, the Wall Street Journal, and if I don't say this, someone will fire me. I have to do a little political speech. That's why at the end of 2003, the Wall Street Journal said that Samsung Electronics had more net income at $5.1 billion than the other 9 Asian companies aggregated. And when we hit $10.7 billion in net income for 2004, it meant that we were correct about this vision. That the focus of the first inch through the glass and the variety of devices is really where our focus will be. And it's going to look like this. This is pretty simple. The consumer is in command, as I've said. They want to reach out to get to wherever they want. They're ignoring advertising like you cannot believe. I think you heard this morning, it was posted, that the Congress is about to pass a law that says that all movie theaters across America must actually post the start time of the movie. Because right now, the start time means you're going to watch 20 minutes of commercials, right? And consumers have fought back. What power the consumer has. And the motion picture movie industry said, fine, we're going to have to charge more for tickets now because we're defraying the cost of the ticket by the app. It's all changing. But this is the world, and this is what you want. You want to command your lights in your house and your remote control on a TV and reach out to mommy and see your email. This is what we want. And we've been propagated and taught by Bill Gates and Andrew Grove. Because for 30 years you showed up at work, or 20 years, and you saw this thing on your desk and you went, I want it, I want to go here, I want to go there. And now you want it here on your body, and you want it wireless and fast. So Samsung Electronics, as you know, as you'll see in this emporium of delicious different devices, with the first inch through the glass to get through to the pipe and the content, is very deeply enriched in user interfaces, in intellectual property and capital, because there's a fierce battle between the features and the benefits and the lifestyle and the DNA of the consumers we're reaching. And as I said earlier, that you can no longer try to reach out to consumers in a broadband methodology. It's all now schisms. Consumers want it the way they want it relevant, they want it pertinent. We're no longer a broad-based market. We're not even a narrow-casted market. We are now a micro-casted world where the consumer's in command, and they want devices to live their lives my way. Blame it on McDonald's, I want it my way. Consumers today, 25 years later, I want it my way from a digital convergence world. The last point, and I'll come up for some air and relax a little bit, is that in my time spending time with Hollywood and starting to show them devices that we have, these media player devices where we can take, 20 hours of movies and put them on a 3.5-inch TFT flat panel with a 20 gigabyte hard drive and start moving that content around, first stayed, then wireless, it's terrifying them. They're confused. But they're mostly confused because they saw the disruption and the discontinence that took place in the music industry and the P&L of the music industry when MP3 went wild. When MP3 went wild. And of course the government was blaming the consumers, but I always thought it was kind of funny. Manufacturers put products on the shelf that said, take this product, bring it home, go on the internet and download free music. Well, that's the deal of the day. What are you blaming the consumers for? It says it right here on the package. So this disruption is just the beginning of disruption in businesses, in technologies, in the way we spend our days and spend our lives. And so the way we express ourselves as a corporation is, now that we understand that there's nobody in the stores with screwdrivers and pliers, now that we understand that usability, you must be able to juxtapose against competition in usability and grassroots stature. Now that Samsung has been anointed by the press, by the editorial community, by large corporations, and a rabid throng, if I could say, R-A-B-I-D, rabid, of consumers who demand the quality and the speed and the feed and the features of Samsung Electronics, we know how important design is too. We just won in Business Week 5 IDEA Awards, Industrial Design Engineering Awards, more than any other company that we compete with. Apple won 4, we won 5. So it's not even good enough in this hyper-changing short product life cycle world we live in to just have great intellectual capital and features. You got to have design that emotionally matches the consumers you're going after. So I got to tell you, I was worried for a few years when Comdex got to shut down, and I remember when the Sands Hotel built 1 million square feet to help expand all these people who wanted to exhibit at Comdex. The sad part for me was, as an IT person from way back when, Comdex blew up because it became a PC business. Comdex was never about PCs, and I know it was about resellers and distributors. It was about mainframes. It was about the back end. It was about the networking. It was about middleware and all this stuff in the back, SAP and Solaris. And we lost our way. It became this behemoth for everybody. And all of a sudden, someday, somebody looked up and went, the king has no clothing. And there's something called Consumer Electronics Show. And you know what? Let's default over there. So I still continue to believe there's a huge importance for infrastructure in corporate and business America on the back end. But I will tell you that because Samsung has become a creator of technology, not just a provider, and because we believe that we're very honored to be at the forefront of leadership in going to the next horizon and vista of where we're going to make sure consumers have the ability to have ubiquitous information, content, movies, music, everything else, I believe in one thing. Please walk away by saying Samsung does not sell the cold steel of a television, and we do not sell the cold steel of a cell phone. We believe in selling the dream. We believe in selling the experience. Nobody buys a television to bring it home and polish it up. You buy it to bring the dream of the Super Bowl into your living room. You buy the cell phone for the dream of out-competing your competition and speaking to mommy at the same time. And again, I appreciate your great listening.